uh, one of the major intermediary. So we will continue our discussion on depository institution and system. And then if time permits, we will start our discussion on money market. So we will wait for a few minutes so that other student will be able to join, and then we'll start our discussion. Any of you got opportunity to work uh, NSDL or CDSL during your internship or any other kind of projects? Whether anyone has any experience, what exactly they do, what kind of projects they take. No one has done any such course, any such internship under CDSL or NDSL. Fine. So it seems, no one is very much, you have not worked with these institutions. So we will discuss, in detail. So if you remember our yesterday's discussion, so we started this topic and we understood that what are basically depository systems are. So we have seen that depository system basically provides some kind of depository or holding facility, similar to banks. And we have also compared how these basically I think we were yeah. So these problem we have already talked about that if we consider all the trading practices without any depository system. Basically depository system is like this kind of mechanism like CDSL or NDSL. So this is basically associated with BSE, Bombay Stock Exchange, and NDSL is works with NSE. So we will see more detail about these two. So basically these are depository systems. So all securities that belongs either to NSE or BSE, they are basically going to be either with the NDSL or CDSL. So any person or any individual, because what will happen, your demat account. So let's say if you have demat account with SBI Cap, it means SBI is going to be, if you are trading on NSE, so through your demat account, like SBI or ICICI, whatever option you select, so that option basically is registered or a part of this depository system. So whenever you are let's say if you are here and whenever you are submitting your order, so here you are submitting order, so all the order through your demat account, because demat account will have your authentication, your bank detail and other details. So it will go here and all the transaction will happen. And then at the end, if you will have, some kind of final transaction. So you are not going to get any detail. You are not going to get any physical form of, your security if you have given a buy order. But what will happen on behalf of you in your demat account, number of, security within demat account, you have number of security, you have outstanding security, it will reflect. So basically everything is with CDSL or NDSL, but when you are trading, based on your type of trade, you will have change in your demat account or in your respective account. And you can see this has enhanced and remove all these problems, because now speed is a good, chances of bad delivery. So all these issues that were there in 90s without this kind of depository system, because that time all the traded securities were in physical format. So you can think of various issues, especially when we talk about scam like Harshad Mehta scam. So these institutions were not there, and that's why these kind of scams were very frequent in those time periods. We have also discussed depository system are similar to banks, but the main difference with the depository system is they hold only securities and all the transferring happens. And of course, when any transaction happens through your respective bank, your netting, basically netting means if you have sold, you should get amount, you should get money because you have sold certain security that you were holding earlier. So based on that, netting will happen, but majorly depository system are a kind of custodian of all the securities available on NSE or BSE, or we can say on respective exchange. So that's why for both the exchanges, NSE, BSE, we have different depository system. Same way like bank, if you compare banks having same kind of facility, but majorly bank deal with the fund or cash. We deposit fund or available access cash. Cash is held by the bank, and netting means if you have deposited, you will earn interest. So seems this kind of operation or this kind of facility depository system provides to individual and to entire exchange. So we have already seen that this kind of system basically really help in transferring of security. Now you need not to wait that when you are going to have a netting of your transaction, because based on the system, whether in spot market or in for related to equity, T+2 system is there. So when you buy, basically your money is going to be settled on after 2 working days, after the day when you buy or sell. But when you have purchasing immediately, because securities are available on respective depository system, security will automatically reflect in your account. And if you have sold at time T, so based on your price at that point of time, it is going to be netted. It will be settled in your bank account after 2 working days. So that's why you can see more transparency is there. Immediately you can see that security is available. Even if you want to sell those security, if you have earlier submitted buy order, it can be done. So that kind of facility was not there, or we cannot think of this facility without depository or this kind of custodian system. So we can easily see that apart from this, there are various services these depository systems provide. First is, of course, it reduces the time in when we trade or when we make some kind of transaction through exchanges. It minimizes the settlement risk. Earlier, settlement risk was very huge. So that risk has been minimized because now securities are not going to be physically transferred from one place to another. Everything is with depository system. So depository system will ensure that if someone has purchased, then security should reflect in his or her demat account. Because of that, it has enhanced the efficiency of respective exchange. At the same time, it has enhanced the liquidity. Why liquidity? Because earlier people were not sure when they are buying and selling certain security, whether they will get those security or money on time. But now, well structured system is there, and that system will ensure that all the transactions are going to be honored, and based on the guideline T+2 or other guideline, final settlement will take place. And this kind of framework, when framework is robust, of course many people will come forward and join this kind of trading. And that's why when we are going to look at number of demat account and number of individual who are registered with CDSL and NDSL, you will find in crores people are registered. It means many investors are there who prefer to trade on respective exchange. Why? Because there is well structured depository system exists in India. Also, it has minimized the transaction cost. If you remember, script-based transaction where whenever you are buying and selling, stamp duty was imposed. And now there is no such transaction. You are not going to send your sold security to the buyer through registered post or other ways, because everything is in electronic format. So these kind of efficiencies we have received, we have got, and lots of unnecessary transaction cost has been can be avoided. Of course, we provide this kind of facility, provide a central system for all the security, and you can see that through this efficiency has increased, reduced transaction cost, and provide some kind of secure system. It directly help capital market, because in our previous discussion we have seen that capital market is basically of two tier. One is primary market where IPO and right issue, these kind of instruments are available. In secondary market, what happens in secondary market, basically your trading happens. Basically, other way if I write, this is basically a place where price discovery process take place, because unless we allow market to decide the price of particular asset, we cannot arrive at the fair price. So that can only happen when you have secondary market, and secondary market will be doing good job when it is liquid. You have enough number of buyer and seller. There is less probability that transactions will be not honored. Transaction cost should be low so that people will be encouraged enough to participate in the market. So you can see that when you have this kind of depository system, in various ways it overall helps capital market, and at the end, at macro level, at higher level, it positively help overall economy to perform better. So in that way we can see linkages. Now already we can think of that such depository system accept a security deposit. There is totally computerized transaction, so book entry is there. It consider it also take care of various corporate action like dividend and interest payment related to debenture or bond. And when securities are going to mature, these depository system help issuer or corporate as well as your market participant or asset holder for getting dividend or interest rate. So first system is basically when we look at the overall institution or institution that are work together. Basically these are the institution, they work together to help exchange. So whenever you trade on NSE or BSE, every time these major institutions, there are other institutions like your demat account provider, your if any you have any specific additional broker. So of course they are intermediary, but at institution level, these are the major institution, your CDSL or NDSL depository system. With depository system, you have a shared registrar or transfer agent like ICICI Direct or SBI Security, and also at the end, you need clearing and settlement system. So we have Clearing and Settlement Corporation of India. So that ensures that all the transactions buy or sell are going to be honored and will be settled as per the guideline. So this is so as we know that depository system basically provide various type of competitive environment, like we have NDSL and CDSL. And if you go and see, earlier we had only one exchange. If you remember, before 1995, we had only major exchange as BSE. Then in 1993 or 1995, I believe, NSE started. And when NSE started, if you go look at the turnover, overall turnover, or corporate participation, corporate or individual participation, NSE has surpassed BSE operation. You go and look at the statistics. So already there are there is a competition between two exchange within the India, and similarly there is, because CDSL and NDSL. So when the two different depository system were introduced, competition level, healthy competition and more transparency in terms of providing various services, providing more security. So all these type of competition, healthy competition, has increased, and that should be the role of any regulatory body, that there should be healthy competition. There should not be monopoly of one exchange or one institution, so that there will be always thrive to get more and more technological enhancement and services for the investors. So when we talk about NDSL, so in 1995 when NSE started, after that it was introduced. So National Security Depositories Limited, NSDL. Sorry, it is NSDL, not NCDL. So NSDL was introduced, and when we look at as of now, so this is basically 2021, I think. Yeah, as per the information of September 2021, there are 276 depository participants. So we'll see who are DPs or depository participants. Basically, you can think of these are the depository participant with which you open your Demat account, or they provide you facility to trade. So basically, DPs are, you can think of banks like SBI, SCAP, Canara Bank, or ICICI Bank. So these are basically depository institutions who allow, with which these depository institutions are connected, and all the trading happens through them. And if you look at in this deposit, they have these many facilities, and when we talk about geographic location, almost around 2,000 cities or town, these DPs have presence in India. And when we talk about in terms of security, so you can see number of in terms of different instruments. You can see in terms of share around 39,000, more than 39,000 type of equity shares are traded or available for trade on NSDL. In terms of bond and debenture, debt instrument around 18,000, and commercial paper. We will talk about commercial paper today because this is basically your part of money market instrument. Like share bond, these are capital market. These are capital market instrument. Similarly, commercial paper, treasury bill, these are your money market instrument. And here, sovereign bond or government bonds, 15 different type of instruments are available. And here you can see their overall value. So who are the promoter? Because NSDL is not basically a pure government institution. Here you will find promoter. So promoter means presence of various institutions. For example, you can see IDBI Bank. So in terms of major promoter, IDBI Bank, UTI, Unit Trust of India, and your National Stock Exchange. They are three major promoter of NSDL, because this is a kind of limited setup, limited corporation setup. And if you look at various holding, so like here we have seen these are major promoter, but other than that, these are other shareholder. It means they are also purchased ownership in this NSDL. So you can see major banks, SDFC, State Bank, Axis, these Indian banks, and also you have HSBC, various banks stake is there in NSDL. So as we have already discussed as role of depository institution. So NSDL holds all the securities in electronic format. It dematerialize and rematerialize the security. It helps in settlement of trade. It frees and unlock investors' account based on the type of activity observed. And if you are holding any demat account and it is let's say if that is registered on with the NSDL, and if you are not operating, definitely it will be deactivated, or if some unauthorized activity happens from your account, it is logged. So all these facilities are basically provided by NSDL, and facility of pledging and hypothecation of security. So if you go and look at pledging by promoter, stock pledging, by promoter. Promoter means you're in a company, you have high, in most of the company you will find promoters will have high ownership. So what they do, they pledge, let's say one promoter having, let's say 25% of stake in a particular firm ABC. And promoter required, let's say company required certain amount of capital for a new project. So what promoter can do? One option is there, promoter or as a manager of firm, he can go to the market, issue debt instrument, or issue equity instrument, or right issue if it is already there, right issue, or can approach to the bank. So these options already exist. And this is another option. We call it stock pledging. So in stock pledging, what will happen? Let's say out of 25% of one particular promoter's ownership, what he does, he pledges, let's say 10% of this. So 10% of his ownership he pledges to the institution, like banks and non-banking financial institutions are also there who can participate in is pledging. So what they do basically, 10% of his stake is going to be as collateral, and for this certain amount of money based on margin, based on haircut, or you can call required margin on that particular security, money will be given, and this money can be utilized for investment or whatever purpose, investment or some kind of other expansion plan. So basically, but what benefit your company will get, because unless the capital provider or lender, here you have lender can be bank or a similar institution, unless lender is selling these 10% security in the market, this promoter's ownership will remain at 25% in the firm. So means by pledging, he is raising capital, and that capital can be utilized by the corporation, by the company in various activities. So this kind of facilities you will find provided through this kind of institution, this kind of depository systems. Another depository system is CDSL, Central Depository Services Limited. So this function with BSE India, Bombay Stock Exchange, and this is second depository institution, started in 1999. And when we look at the current status, so right now you will find around 17,304 companies that are connected in through CDSL. And right now, as per September 30, 2021, around 500 depository participants are there. So these participants, if you look at here, in case of NSE, on NSE, around 276 depository participants, and here around 591 participants, and it has wider reach. So you can see both depository systems are competing with each other. And when we look at the investors account, around 4 crore, more than 4 crore accounts are associated with CDSL. And how many accounts are associated here? I think more than 5 crore accounts are there with the NSDL. So I will have to look at the current figure, but number is more, seems more than CDSL. So in terms of CDSL promoters, so Bombay Stock Exchange, Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, State Bank, and SDFC. These are the major promoter, and other stockholder or shareholders are these institutions. They have significant amount of shareholding in CDSL. So now coming to your part of depository participant, if you remember, because unless without depository participant, you cannot participate in trading activity. So these are basically intermediary. So all these are intermediaries. They provide some kind of services. So who can be depository participant? Banks can be part of public financial institution, various stockbroker, various state finance corporation, custodian of securities, clearing corporation. So you can see there are variety of institution who can be depository participant. And if you go and look at list of depository participant, No long list is there, but here, a few depository participants registered with NSDL you can see. And some of you, like, you can see Bank of Allahabad Bank is a depository participant in terms of foreign bank, ABN AMRO, and Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank, Accord Capital. So you can see that these you may have, or AG Share Security Limited. Even if you go and look at more details, you will find various institution, probably various intermediary. You may also have Demat account with them, or you may be interacting or participating in the exchange activity through those depository participants. So basically, these are the institute intermediaries is connected with the with respect to exchange through depository institutions. And now when we talk about various depository participant listed or registered with CDSL, for a security and various, you can see lots of names are there. So we have seen around 551 DPs. So list is very long. So if you want, you can go to CDSL or NDSL website, NSDL website, and you will be able to see a long list of these institutions. And you know how these institutions help you. So in various ways you can see. So how these DPs help you? Basically, they help you in mobilizing the process. So with them, when you are trading, these are basically providing you a kind of bridging between you and exchange. So all the transaction, whatever we think, all the transactions are going to take place through these depository institution. So these will provide various information related to a confirmation statement, monthly trading, quarterly statement. So various facilities you can easily get. So in terms of benefit, we have already seen lots of benefits are there when we consider depository system in any country. So I think these points already we have covered, so we need not to relook at these points. And when we talk about benefits to company, so most of the benefit that we have seen from overall in general benefit. But when it comes to company, you can see that these depository institutions are major source of information, and they provide various information related to ownership, related to holding period. Even if you have any account in on NSDL or CDSL, every month they will send you a statement that your individual ownership is so and so. So it means it is a major source of information for individual. At the same time, the companies who want to raise capital or who want some kind of take corporate decision, these depository system can help them in getting various information. These also helps in dividend and bonus kind of distribution. It also increased the transparency because all the information related to trade, related to issue, because when even IPOs are going to be issued, once they are issued, introduced in the market, immediately after that, trading can start. So unless you have this kind of deposit system, we cannot think of fair price discovery process. So in that way, when we think that these depository systems are integral and essential part of any financial system. And apart from that, various notice and information these depository institutions do provide. And in terms of investor, we can easily see that now we are least bothered about paper based trading because everything is in electronic format. No bad delivery risk, no probability of fraud in terms of misplacement or non-availability of your your security. That kind of fraud probability is very less. Settlement time has really reduced. Everything is available on CDSL or NSDL, and based on your transaction, it can be settled quickly. Portfolio can be easily restructured. Even on a given day, you can buy same security 10 times and sell them. So that kind of facility is now available. Transaction cost is less, and overall, if you look at the payment system and transaction cost, it has really reduced. And whether it is NSE or BSE, they are trying to speed, get higher speed in terms of order execution and settlement. Because unless they get speed, market efficiency cannot be improved further. And because you cannot submit your order in isolation, you will have to be connected. You will be transacting through all these depository systems. So speed and transparency is also important for these depository systems. So you can think of it as not just kind of a static system. It is dynamic system, and this system will keep on improving in terms of speed, in terms of providing various protective guidelines. Otherwise, every alternate year, you may see that some kind of fraud or some kind of undesired activities. So all these problems, more or less has been settled after introducing this kind of depository system. There are various, guidelines, SEBI guidelines that encourage to have this kind of depository system, especially in 1996. Even if you remember Harshad Mehta scam, I think it happened around 1992. So even if you go and read about Harshad Mehta scam. So majorly it was on security available on BSE and related to banks and bank related transactions. So if you go and read this, more about this scam, then you will realize that in around early 90s, there were so many problems. Why problems were there? Because everybody was trading with the physical format, securities. So transfer of ownership was delayed. You cannot, follow. You cannot trace where exactly your purchase securities are. And at the same time, when this kind of delay is there, there is no electronic way of identifying or tracing your security or tracing your final settlement. That has forced BSE and NSE as well to have this kind of materialized or electronic format depository system. So that was the trigger, and that was analyzed after 1992, and SEBI regulation 1996 has ensured that depository system must be there with exchanges, so that this kind of delay and this kind of scam can be avoided. So various, when we look at the key features of this guideline, SEBI 1996 guideline, first was there should be a depository institution, and these depository institutions should be associated with the participant who are going to connect investor and depository system. And it is up to the investor whether investor want to use NSDL or CDSL, or type of what you call depository system, or it is up to the investor choice whether he or she wants to trade on NSE or BSE. There should be facility of fungibility, and it has reduced, stamp duty, which was earlier there, and depository record whatever securities are there with NSDL or CDSL. Those are basically a kind of legal evidence. So up to large extent, all those issues were fully addressed after introducing this kind of depository system. So this is today's class. If you look at the major thing that we have covered is about the depository system, and now you can think of various various ways by which these depository system can be improved upon. Still, work is going on. Even papers are also there that talks about how depository system or their functionality can be further improved. So if you are interested, you can read more about their functionality. But so far as this course is concerned, I think understanding of certain guideline related to SEBI and depository system that we talked about, and functionality of depository system, I think should be sufficient enough to have fair idea about this kind of intermediaries or this kind of financial system. Any question? If you have any question, we can take it. Otherwise, we will start. At least we will start our another module. Any question, student? Fine. So it seems there are no questions. So I'll start another interesting topic. It's money market. Are you able to see my screen, students?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So far, if you see whatever we have covered, we covered about capital market, and capital market means your NSE or BSE you can think of, and within capital market we have seen depository system, system or depository institutions. So we have seen depository institution, and within depository institution, we have discussed about depository participant, participants, and with this participant, all your investor or market participants are going to be connected. And this entire system, when we talk about capital market, if you look at these capital market, will provide basically long-term financing. Why long-term financing? Because type of securities that are traded is either equity, or it is debt-related instrument. So majorly, when we talk about capital market, these type of instruments, we buy and sell. But so far we have not thought of, or we have not discussed anything about short-term liquidity or short-term sources of financing. So that's why our discussion on this topic, money market, this is basically a market which is liquid and having short-term in nature. Because you think of a scenario where from a particular corporation need, let's say, money of 10 million for, let's say, 6 months, and assume that this market doesn't exist. If we assume this kind of scenario, so what option this corporation may have? So one option is go to equity market, raise capital, or issue debenture, get money, or go for term loan, or let's say, which is not very general case, is pledging by the promoter, pledging of shares by promoter. But this is very exceptional case. So nearly these options firm will have. But if you look at the requirement, this corporation needs this much amount. For you can think of this is kind of working capital requirement. Working capital need. Working capital means for running day-to-day activity, firm requires certain amount of cash or resources, you can call. For that resource, cash is one of the major component, because under the working capital you have current asset. In current asset you have inventory, raw material, and finished goods. So various classifications are there. But majorly, if we consider that firm required $10 million only for 6 months, and if firm goes for this, by nature, these instruments are long-term in nature. So by characteristic, if you see, these are long-term. So there will be a mismatch between requirement is only for 6 months, and available source maturity. So to avoid this kind of mismatch, because company needs only for 6 months, and if company goes for issuing equity, there will be various implication, dilution will take place. Then firms may not be able to raise quickly capital because of certain equity related guidelines. So various issues are there. So that's why, to avoid this kind of problem related to mismatch between availability of option in capital market versus requirement of the firm, this money market was introduced. So now you can easily think that by definition, money market is a kind of market where short-term options or short-term financing options will be available, and those tools, those instruments, we are going to discuss under this. And this is available for both. This is not only for corporation. This particular market is also available for government, for state government, and various other institutions. So that's why this is very important. So we will only cover in today's session, we will only cover this particular slide, and then tomorrow we will complete our discussion on this. So when we talk about the characteristic, more or less, I have given you a background why money market is required, and there are various regulation or various justification why certain changes over the period of time were introduced. So when we talk about money market, basically we need some kind of option to match short-term demand and supply of fund. In capital market, it was a best alternative or good alternative to meet long-term demand and long-term supply. Whereas this problem, short-term demand and short-term problem, short-term supply of fund can be addressed only through this kind of market. And that's why money market is quite important. Another option in money market, if you look at like in equity market or share market, you can go and buy even particular share of a small denomination, or you can say that one share you can buy. But in money market, if you want to participate, participation requires large amount. You cannot go and just buy 100 rupee share if you have Demat account. It means if you want to participate, there will be significant amount of money requirement from participant side. Second characteristic that we can see that money market instrument have low default risk. Why? Reason is very clear, because these are basically issued for short duration. Short duration, basically not duration we should call maturity, because sometimes when we talk about duration also having different meaning, because maturity itself is less than 1 year majorly. So if that is less than, then default risk is also less. And the type of instrument that are available, when we are going to talk about those, you will find by nature itself risk is less as compared to risk that we see in capital market. And finally, when we talk about this type of securities available, majorly all the securities have less than 1 year of maturity. So there are various type of instrument available. So we will talk about them tomorrow, like call money market instrument, repos. Repos we have already talked about. Remember when we talk about RBI and commercial banks. So I believe you all can still remember. We will talk about T-bills. We will talk about various other cash management bill, commercial paper. Basically, this is a kind of instrument which is equivalent to T-bill, but issued by corporations. So we will discuss tomorrow certificate of deposit, generally institution use, and issuer is basically a bank, and then CBLO, collateralized borrowing and lending obligations. Basically, it is a kind of option where there is a certain collateral, and collateral based short-term liquidity provisions are introduced, and that's why this instrument, CBLO instruments, are very unique. And they provide facility, liquidity facility to many institutions. Those are not like banks, because in repo market, bank can easily participate, but there are institutions that may not be able to participate because of certain restriction. So CBLO's instruments, they were introduced to support, to provide liquidity facility to those institutions. So so we will stop our discussion on this slide, and if you have any question, I can take it. Otherwise, we will continue our discussion on this in tomorrow's session. Find any question, or we can conclude today's session. No question? Fine. So thank you. So we are concluding today's session. Once I'll be sharing a slide on depository institution immediately in our tab in MS Team, and tomorrow we will continue our discussion on money market and try to cover this particular topic. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.